Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 4 of the Bandwagon Hockey Podcast. Ryan, what was up with the delay this time?
Okay, so Riverside seems to have made a little update that the media board just it collapses now when you hit record, which is stupid. And I would have been able to have it ready, like right on time, but it didn't let me open up the chat window until the countdown was done. So it just seems like a ridiculous update that somebody needs to go back and like change because it's just stupid.
That was so funny last episode. There was
last episode there was a little delay.
First 10 seconds of the episode is just like clicking and breathing. It was awesome.
So I totally meant to clip all of that out too, and I had, but there was something else wrong with the episode, so I had to go back and do it again, and I forgot to take it out. So that's why that was there, and it happened again now. So might leave it in for fun, but might take it out. We'll see.
Just for shits and gigs.
Yeah, who knows? Depends how I'm feeling.
Okay. So we are back. We got a busy Saturday of hockey to talk about. Probably we'll drift in a little bit of Friday as well, because your Ottawa Senators beat the Toronto Maple Leafs 6-2, and then followed that up with a 5-0 win against the Montreal Canadiens last night. 107% capacity I saw, which is crazy. Like more than 20,000 fans, and I think capacity is like 18,700. So like almost 2,000 fans beyond seating capacity were at the game, which is kind of sick.
I've seen for a few games this season, like for big rivalry games, they've been really pushing like extra standing room tickets too. So they've cracked above 20,000 a few times this season. So
Ryan's got some beeping going on in the background. Did you just turn off your mic?
Oh yeah.
Okay, what is that right now?
Fire alarm's going off.
A fire alarm's going off. For a minute. Is that going to be a false alarm, or are you going to have to skedaddle?
No, we're good. It's just the oven is being used.
Oh, the oven. Okay, gotcha. Oh, yeah, because like your house is fire alarm, not like a. For some reason, I was thinking like you're in an apartment building, so the fire alarm for the apartment, like the whole building was going off, so that everyone would have to like evacuate, like in res when some drunken person would like pull a fire alarm, and then everybody would have to leave at like 3:00 in the morning. Okay, yeah, so let's get into Saturday's games. We can probably group in, like, I don't know, from Friday. Vegas lost again, and then they lost again last night, so they're really scuffling right now. We can talk a little bit about the Sens winning their back-to-back. What do you want to do about that beeping? You want to just kind of hold off until, like, just chime in whenever, or I can try to go with it? Okay.
Yeah, it's coming on and off, so I'm just gonna wait till she's.
It's not as loud as it was the first time. Did it just stop?
It just stopped.
Did it? So it just stopped. Okay, cool. Okay, well let's go. Let's get rolling then. So we'll talk about Saturday's games, and that'll naturally drift into a little bit of Friday's games, depending on if teams are on a back-to-back or not. But yeah, we've got a nice list of games that went down on Saturday, which is kind of why we like to talk about or to record on Sundays, because obviously Saturday is sort of the NHL's marquee hockey night. And I feel like a natural starting point would be to go Ottawa, Montreal last night. Start there.
Yeah.
So
Ottawa takes. You were at the game.
Yes, I was at the game. Ottawa took it 5-0, coming off of a 6-2 win in Toronto. So kind of a massive back-to-back for the team heading into the All-Star break. They have one more game against Montreal on Monday. Is it on Monday?
No, Tuesday.
Forsberg with a nice shutout on his second night of his back-to-back. Giroux had a few points. Jake Sanderson was a monster again. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to say this team's clicking now because we're now 50 games in the season and they're at 500, but they've won 3 in a row, 3 good wins.
Basically, they've gotten a nice little Ridley Gregg bump. That's basically what this is.
Yeah, and he looks amazing. He's flying out there. He's very fun to watch. It's so cool seeing him play with Giroux. Like, just the age.
I know he's had a few injury issues this year, but it begs the question, like, why wasn't he here earlier, right?
Because DJ Smith?
Yeah.
That's why. Like,
I know that's the answer, but it's not acceptable.
It's not acceptable, but that's the way it works. Like, he would rather have Austin Watson in the lineup than a young, skilled player. And nothing against Austin Watson, but he's not an NHL caliber player anymore. That's just the fact. That's a straight up fact of the matter. And, like Parker Kelly flies. He throws lots of hits, but I think he has 3 points this year. And that's an everyday player. Let's go to the team page. Let's have some fun. Let's make ourselves upset.
Parker Kelly
he's got 4 points this year, 1 goal in 47 games.
Parker Kelly is an effective PK2 guy, and that is about it. He brings the energy on some shifts, but he sometimes takes costly penalties, and there are better options on a nightly basis, I think. So.
If you're an NHL forward who plays like every game, like Parker Kelly is in the top 12 forward, like he plays every game when he can, and you're playing 10 minutes a night, you should have more than a goal. Dylan Gambrell, 30 games this season, 1 goal, no assists. Mark Kastelik, 43 games this season, 4 goals, 1 assist. Austin Watson.
I saw with Greg's assist last night, he's already outscoring Gambrell of the year.
He is. In 3 games, he has 2 assists.
But, okay, yeah, it is true.
He's there. And he has half the points that Parker Kelly has. Parker Kelly's played 47 games. Ridley Gregg has played 3. So it just goes to show that, like, just because a guy's young doesn't mean they can't produce. And for whatever reason, Ottawa hasn't caught up to that philosophy yet, even though the rest of the league has. Because, look around the league, how many teams have an Austin Watson type on their team? Like, Minnesota has Ryan Reeves, although Ryan Reeves actually wins fights. So, like,
I think they're almost going too far in the other direction, because there's a few years where they really rushed their first round picks, like Cody Ceci and Curtis Lazar, and they really didn't turn out well. And now they're like organizational philosophy is probably way longer than necessary in most cases.
Yeah, it's weird. I'd like to know like who's making those decisions, because like everybody likes to point the finger at DJ Smith, but if Pierre Dorian just makes a roster move, then DJ doesn't really have a choice. So I don't know if like they're very in the loop with each other on that, and they make those decisions together or not. But it's an issue that I don't know. It's nice that Greg's in the lineup now, but I worry that once the team maybe gets a little bit healthier or something, that he'll get demoted when he really does just deserve to be in the NHL at this point. Like, he's a first-round pick from 3 years ago. Like, that projects to be an NHLer at this point if they're ready. Yeah, and he's ready.
Since Norris is out for the year, I'm hoping they just keep him in that spot to see what he's got for the rest of the year. But who knows? We'll see.
And having Giroux on the team, too, is such a nice, like, insurance policy at center. Like, he could step in and take a draw. You know, like it's just it's really good.
Used in that utility a lot. Like there's several opportunities, I guess, like shorthanded and power play, where he'll like come in, take a face off, and get off right away.
And they do it with Brady Tkachuk all the time too. Tkachuk's a solid face-off guy, but just not. He's not a skating. He's not good enough skater to be a center, so he takes the draw and goes back to the wing. It works really nicely. But yeah, so Ottawa takes it 5-0. Montreal. This is one thing I definitely wanted to talk about. I was like watching the game, and they have a lot of players that I just don't know, which is very surprising.
Oh, really?
Like I'm typically very good at knowing like who is who on the team, but I'm gonna rip through their roster just real quick.
Yeah, sure.
And like you tell me like who you know and who you don't, okay? Like, I won't do the obvious ones, like Nick Suzuki, Josh Anderson, whatever.
Yeah.
Another thing I wanted to mention before I do this, Rem Pitlick might be the fastest player I've ever watched live. Like, I haven't seen McDavid live. That's in a few weeks. Rem Pitlick is a freaking demon.
Yeah. I've just watched a few games that he's been in now. And every single time I've seen him, he stands out for that reason. Like I had to listen to the first period when I was coming home from the end of work last night, And I swear Gord Wilson said his name like 20 times. He must have always had the puck. And then when I got home and I was able to watch it, he was noticeable too. So
he was flying, and it was like he looked really good. Like he blew past, and I mean it's not much to say that he blew past like Holden and Zaitsev, but he was flying. Like he like left Shabbat in the dust on a foot race at one point to beat out an icing. Like it was really impressive. But anyway, okay, so Owen Beck is a guy that they had. He wasn't in the lineup, but it looked like he had family there because there was there was a group with like an Owen Beck sign, and I was like, why do you have an Owen Beck sign?
Do you not know Do you not know Owen Beck?
Not really, no.
Oh well, he's a pretty highly touted prospect for them. He just got I think he just got traded to Peterborough. Anyways, he's on the Peterborough Petes, and they're looking to go on a run for the Memorial Cup, and they were able to call him up for an emergency call up because they have just basically a whole team's worth of injuries. And so it was his first NHL game, and that's why he
I didn't see him in the lineup though. Did he play?
Yeah, he played.
Because I was looking for him and I couldn't find him.
He had a couple.
Okay, he played 9 minutes.
That I noticed.
I straight up like looked for him and couldn't find him. Anyway, so yeah.
Anyways, he was sent right back down. So.
Oh, okay. So he played the game and went back. So it must have been his family then. Okay, so Owen back. Jesse Ylonen. Raphael Harvey Pinard. Michael Pizzetta and Alex Belzile. Those are 4 guys
There's a few of those guys that I've like briefly heard of before, but I think a lot of these guys are just straight up AHL players because I don't know.
No, I know, but that's what I'm saying.
Like, they have right now, but it's ridiculous.
Like I know these guys are like AHL guys. I'm just saying like this is what their team is right now, and I didn't know who some players on their team were. Another one like Jordan Harris, had no idea who that was. Jonathan Kovacevic, no idea. Like, wait, you say really? Who's Jordan Harris?
I thought he was supposed to be a pretty decent prospect. No,
he's our age. He's drafted third round.
I know he's a rookie defenseman. Like half of their decor are rookies this year. But
no, I just didn't know who that was. And then Jonathan Kovacevic. I don't know. They had a lot of players that I just Kovacevic.
I don't know. We can move on.
Is that right?
We'll definitely not.
But then looking at their injured reserve in LTIR, they've got Brendan Gallagher, Jonathan Drouin, Joel Armia, Jake Evans, Uri Slavkovsky, Caden Gooley, Carey Price, Sean Monahan, and Paul Byron. Like, I obviously know all those players. So it was weird watching the team because I was like, I just don't know who this team is. It was weird.
Yeah, I just didn't know if you knew how hurt they were. And
no, I knew how hurt they were, which is why it was such a weird feeling that I didn't know anybody on their team because normally that's not the case for me. I normally know who, like, 95% of players are, if not all. And I just didn't know who anyone was because of how injured they were. Because I was like, I knew how injured they were, but I kind of forgot in the moment. So I was looking around being like, oh, where's Gallagher? And like where's Drouin? And where's like this guy? Like, where's Monahan? He's supposed to be like a big trade chip. Just stuff like that. And I just didn't know where anyone was. But yeah, it's kind of hilarious. I think they have, as a team, have the highest cap hit in the NHL. 95 million. They're 13.5 million or 13 million over the cap, which is hilarious. And they have 0 cap space. Like they used it all. So yeah, good for them. But yeah, like, did you have any specific thoughts on the game? Like, it was a good game for Ottawa. I thought they played well. Forsberg was
from
really
what
good. Like they hit 3 or 4 posts.
Yeah, from what I heard, Ottawa didn't have like the best first period, but
no.
Like they were able to hold them and then just broke it open in the second. So I thought it was a good game for Ottawa, definitely coming off a back-to-back. It's nice to keep it rolling, and especially a back-to-back where it's probably 2 of your biggest rivals, especially in the division. So it was just nice to finally see them rack together a couple wins after just kind of winning 1, losing 2, winning 2, losing 1. For what seems like the last couple months.
Did you see Brassard's goal at the end?
Yeah, I did.
That shit was so funny.
So funny.
You could just tell how mad everyone, because like everyone laughed after the Joseph empty netter, and then everyone was gone, and then on everyone's way out, Broussard scored, and it was just so funny, because it was such an unnecessary goal. Like it was the most, I don't know. It was a fun night. I always like it when Toronto and Montreal are in town. I feel as though anyone who says they don't like when Toronto and Montreal are in town. I don't get that. Like those are the most fun games because like even though Ottawa gets partially booed on their own ice, like it's more fun because like there's an environment and people actually care instead of just having like some snooze fest with some Western Conference team in town with like 15,000 fans rather than 20.
From what I understand, it's significantly better this year than it has been in years past too. So in
terms of like having actual Sens fans show up for those games.
Yeah, and it not being a complete takeover. Yeah.
Well, it sounded like it was about, I don't know, maybe 60-40, 50-50. Like, there were a lot of Habs fans. And I don't know
it was loud.
Yeah, it was loud.
Like, coming from TV?
But I just don't know if I've ever been to a game where it was, like, really, like more Leafs or more Habs fans than Sens fans. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how it is because Ottawa doesn't play Toronto at home until like March, and then they play like Toronto comes to Ottawa twice in a span of 2 weeks, and those are the only two times they come. So that'll be fun.
Yeah.
Are there any other game? Like, what other games? Like, is there a specific game that you want to hop over to? Is there any topics that you want to jump into? Stamkos scored his 500th goal. He was honored the other day. His kid was pretty excited when they were out on the ice. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, just like on that quickly, it's so funny to see how much his kid looks exactly like him.
Oh, I know, it's wild.
Like he just looks like it's a mini me, and he looked like he was on crack, just like putting on a show for the camera. I'm pretty sure that's what he was doing anyways, just like looking at himself up on the big board, kind of putting on some dance moves. So I thought that was hilarious. And then, so like he was being honored for his 500th goal, and then another big milestone that's happening today too is John Tavares hitting 1,000 games played. So that was one that snuck up on me. I didn't think he would be there yet.
Well, he must be getting really, really close to 1,000 points then too, eh?
He must be.
He's at 9. He's at 944, so he'll get to that next year.
Okay. Yeah.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so back to Stamkos. I'm infatuated by this guy, like Steven Stamkos, because he was so like.
Oh yeah.
He was almost done. Like he was almost out of the game. Like he straight up missed like a couple years in a row, more or less. Like he broke his leg. Did he break his leg at the Olympics? Did he injure himself at the Olympics one year?
No, so it was right before the Olympic selection because I don't think. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think he's ever been. Because of injuries or not being chosen or them just not being able to go.
Well, he didn't get chosen.
I don't think he's been.
I think he was just... Oh, I'm having trouble remembering. I think he was not chosen at the 2014 one.
Wasn't that the year they took Chris Kunitz over him?
Yeah, and Stamkos was coming off of like a 60-goal season.
Yeah, something like that.
Because that's what Hockey Canada does, right? They pull some bullshit to bring some like old guy that has like good chemistry instead of bringing the young stud.
Yeah, that year was because Kunitz was really good with Crosby or whatever it was. But
and then he had the broken leg, which caused him to miss 2018. So he just hadn't gone to the Olympics, and then Tampa had that down year. I forget which year, but they missed the playoffs. And then, like, Stamkos really battled injuries for a couple years in a row. Like, I'm just looking at his hockey reference page. He only played 57 games. Oh, wait. No, those are the COVID-shortened years. Okay. Did he only have one season where he missed? Oh, no. Okay, here it is.
No.
13.
So
I've got my timeline mixed up.
What I remember is there being major concerns around his health, but he was able to battle back in time to come back for, I think it was one game in their first finals run, or was it the second, where he scored one goal in the one game he came back for.
Against Dallas, yeah.
Yeah. So I remember that being just an incredible achievement to be able to come back for one game because of everything he was going through. More recently, anyways.
But I'm talking about even like earlier in his career. So like 2013, 2014, he played 37 games and he had 25 goals. I can't remember if like he broke his leg that year. I can't remember which year that he broke his leg. But that's an Olympic year and he missed the Olympics that year. And then 2018, oh, sorry, no, not 2018. 2016, 17, he only played 17 games in the whole year. So I don't know if that was his broken leg year or not. Maybe he broke his leg both times. I'm not sure. But he's missed a lot of time due to injuries in his career. And especially when you consider the fact that he was drafted a full year ahead of Tavares and has played 30 less games than John Tavares. So that, like, realistically, that's over 100 missed games by him. And yet, like, if you were to do, I think I texted you about this. If you were to do, like, a Mount Rushmore of, like, 2010s hockey, like, he's on it.
Yeah.
Like, it's
probably.
Crosby, Ovechkin, Stamkos, and then depending on if you think McDavid was in the league long enough, or maybe Erik Karlsson winning 2 Norrises, maybe like a Carey Price winning the Hart Trophy, Patrick Kane. Oh, yeah, Patrick Kane. But, like, he's there. I think it's clear cut, like, those 3 guys, Stamkos, Crosby, and Ovechkin. And it's just pretty sick that he's had such a, like, resurgence. He's like a completely different player now. Like, he's putting up more assists than goals, and that's never been his game. So it's really cool to see that. So it's really cool to see that. Tampa's rolling. They won last night. They beat LA 5-2. Speaking of LA, I don't know if you saw, but they were in first place for like 2 days. But they have a negative goal differential. They were like,
oh really?
Yeah, 50 games in the season. Right now, they're at a -9 goal differential, and they're 28, 18, and 6, which is crazy.
How is that possible?
I know, because it's the NHL. They were first place for a couple days, but then Seattle passed them. They won't catch Seattle. I think Seattle is going to end up sort of running away with that division, especially because Vegas is really struggling lately. I'm not sure what's going on there. I don't know if they have more injuries or what. Maybe the workload's caught up to Boston.
I know Stone is out again.
Stone's got his back
injury, which is major concern. But outside of that, I don't really know. But just going back to the goal differential thing for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
The Kings, they have the same as Ottawa. Like, how is that possible?
It's a joke. It's crazy. This league is like weird. It's a straight up weird league. Like, the Islanders are I was gonna say the Islanders. I thought the Islanders were closer to 500, but they're 3 games over 500, and they only have a +4 goal differential, which I guess makes intuitive sense. But it's pretty wild when you look at it. Like, Ottawa and LA have the same goal differential. One team is like very comfortably in the playoffs, and one team is just not even close.
A little off topic, but I just started looking at goal differentials. The Bruins are +81.
No, I know.
That's absurd.
Who's second in the league? +40, it looks like. Dallas and New Jersey are both +40, and Boston's +81. Boston's lost 2 in a row. Is it time to panic in Bruins land?
It might be.
Do you think?
7-2-1 in their last 10. It's a little concerning.
That must be like, that's got to be their worst 10-game stretch of the year. Like, it has to be.
Yeah,
this is their first losing streak of the season.
They play on a back-to-back again today too in Carolina, so it might be another L.
And then they play Toronto on Wednesday. That's a tough stretch of games.
Dang,
holy! That's a southeast trip of Tampa, Florida, and Carolina is that's a brutal 3-game stretch, eh?
Mm.
Damn, especially on a back-to-back, like facing Carolina on the second night of a back-to-back, like that's a schedule loss. That is a schedule loss because that team hums.
It should be. Yeah.
They shit kick teams. Carolina, like, they skate you into the ground. They outshoot everyone. It's absolutely insane.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Did you see the Trevor Zegras stuff last night?
I kind of saw the whole tussle around and how Zegras had, was it Stetcher.
Yeah, it was Troy
All
Stetcher.
fired up. Yeah.
He was losing his mind.
So I kind of thought that was hilarious, and I just need to know what Zegras said to him.
Me too. I want someone to do some lip reading. We need to get like John Boy on it or something.
Yeah, we need the John Boy video.
Because it's not often you see, like, even after a scrum, it's not often you see a player continue to be pissed off when, like, the other guy that was sort of antagonizing them is in the box. And, like, Zegras was fully in the box, helmet off, like, took his seat, knew he was going to be in there for, like, 10 minutes, and Stetcher was, like, losing his mind pointing at him from outside the penalty box. It was crazy. And you just know that, like...
These two teams just have some random beef, and it's hilarious because it was the Beagle stuff last year too, right?
Yeah. I wonder if they had played. Oh yeah, they just played the other day. Okay, I was gonna say maybe this was like a byproduct of the Beagle stuff, but they played the other day.
Yeah, no, this is I think a home and home, right? I think like their last games were against each other.
I think there was a game in between. Hold up, one second.
Oh, okay. Anyways, yeah, two like very close together games. So I wonder if anything happened in the first game too.
Yeah, no, they were at Arizona, at Colorado, and then they were back at home versus Arizona.
Okay.
But yeah, it was just really weird because you just know that like Trevor Zegras is like so quick on his feet with chirps and stuff. He just strikes me as that type of player who's just really quick with it out the mouth. And like he must have just said something that really got to Stetcher because you don't really see players lose their cool like that very often.
No, and
it's extremely funny to see it coming from the guy who's like 170 pounds, like just pretty boy.
I hope that's something like he can continue to like add in his arsenal, just like little stupid chirps that just piss people off, and like him just laugh. I don't know. It's hilarious. It might get him whacked one day, but
just like dumb little stuff. Like, hey, you look like you like to, I don't know, whatever, like grocery shop with your mom or something. Just some like dumb little chirp that's like super obscure and not actually mean, but like just enough to get a heated up NHL player annoyed.
Like imagine Trevor Zegras just coming up to you right in your ear and being like, "Hey buddy, hey buddy," like just having him right in your ear like that. with the face he's making, like, oh my god, it would probably drive you nuts.
Hey buddy, you look like you ride scooters to work every day.
Like just some stupid shit like that. Oh man, that's funny. Okay, let's talk briefly about the games that are coming up today. We got a couple of absolute monsters, Boston and Carolina. Two teams that are likely division winners. And then we've also got Toronto, Washington, which... Wait, if that was... Oh, I was going to say if it was still like conference-based playoff format, would that be like a first-round matchup? But honestly, actually, no, this is funny. A first-round playoff matchup would actually still be Toronto versus Tampa. So that's hilarious.
Really?
All of the playoff... Oh, Ryan... All of the playoff matchups right now, in terms of 1 to 8 or wild card method, would be the same right now.
That's kind of insane.
Boston's first, Pittsburgh's 8th, Carolina's 2nd, Washington's 7th. Rangers Devils is 3-6, and then Toronto and Tampa would be 4-5.
Huh.
That's actually absurd that Toronto's in 4th place in the division in the conference.
Yeah, I know.
That's actually wild. The top 4 teams in the NHL are in the Eastern Conference.
The East is just absurd.
Yeah, it is. That's not where I was going with this, though. So we've got Boston, Carolina tonight, or not tonight, this afternoon, 5 o'clock. And then Washington, Toronto at the exact same time. So there's a couple of things wrong with this that are very NHL-esque. First of all, you have 2 of your marquee teams in the league. You've got the Boston Bruins and Toronto Maple Leafs. They're both Original Six franchises. They're both playing very well. Same division, yada, yada. And they're both playing against sort of like bigger-ish American markets. Like Washington's a big American market. Carolina's not, but they're a very good team. Yeah. And those 2 games are scheduled for, you guessed it, the exact same time. So if you wanted to watch both, you cannot. You can watch one. And if that being said, if you wanted to watch one of those games, you would then not be able to watch either or one or the other of the NFL's championship weekend games. You've got the 49ers and the Eagles playing at 3 o'clock. So if you wanted to watch hockey, you'd miss the second half of that game. And if you wanted to watch hockey, you'd miss the first half of the Kansas City-Cincinnati AFC championship game at 6:30. So my question to you, Ryan, is who is the schedule maker at NHL.com? Because this is crazy. Like, you have two games, and you put them at the exact same time, which already clashes with each other, and you're clashing with the NFL's, like, second biggest weekend of the year.
Yeah, I was trying to think through the logic on this one. When we were texting about this morning, and I was kind of putting myself in a pretzel. Because originally I looked at the times, and I was like, okay, they're trying to, like, do it a little bit in between both, so you can try to get viewers from, like, maybe halftime and maybe the first game ends and you get people after that. But that doesn't really make sense either, because it starts at 5 o'clock and the late game starts at 6:30. The late NFL game, sorry.
Yep.
So, like, it's still going to be like halfway through and everyone will just switch back over if that's the case.
It's not going to be halftime of the first game when these hockey games start. Like, it's going to be middle of the third quarter.
Yeah. Anyways, but like the NHL constantly loads up Saturdays, and good for you, go for it. Like, you want to have your day, but do you really need 12 games on one and then like 2 on another? This weekend I completely understand because it's big games, but any other weekend, like, just balance it out a little bit and stagger your start times.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing.
Ridiculous. And especially like this weekend specifically, like, why don't you have some of your patented, like, really early starts on Sunday? Like, why wouldn't you just go for like 2 p.m. starts, especially in Carolina? I feel like I see that stuff all the time on the weekends.
They could go even earlier if they wanted. They could go 12:30. Like, that's what they do it all the time.
Yeah.
Why not this time?
I don't know. And like
the
Toronto
NHL does
could have
12:30 starts all the time.
Toronto just did their next gen game against Ottawa on a Friday night. Could have done it here on like a weekend game. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't get it. And then tomorrow, the NHL has one game going on between St. Louis and Winnipeg. Like, what are you doing? I don't get that.
Yeah. So this week in general, I think, is really
this week is different. You're right. Okay.
Teams are starting to hit their bye weeks, and it's the All-Star break. So I don't think there's any games going on from like Thursday till Monday or something like that. Yeah,
I read an article this morning that mentioned that there's actually only like 9 teams in action between Sunday and Tuesday, between Sunday and Wednesday. Like, Carolina plays 3 games from today till Wednesday. Toronto plays 2 games. Washington, I think, plays 2 games. So, like, it's the same 9 teams being recycled for the next, like, 4 days, because all 22, like, the other, 23 teams, or whatever the number was. Anyway, it was more than 20. The other 20-plus teams are starting their bye weeks already. And then coming out of the All-Star break, these teams that are playing now get their bye week. So, like, even though the All-Star break ends on, like, the 6th, Ottawa doesn't play until the 11th. And then it'll probably be similar for, like, Toronto and Carolina and those guys.
So I guess what they're trying to do is kind of everybody gets a mini vacation at All-Star break. Yeah. Because I don't remember that the bye weeks being so heavy around this. Like, I kind of remember them being staggered all over the place once the middle of the season kind of hits.
It makes sense, though, to have it earlier on this time of year. Because if you do stagger them, then you'll end up having teams getting their bye week, like, in December when they just don't need it.
Yeah, no, this does make sense. I just don't remember it being the case beforehand.
Me neither, but it's also been like 3 years because they didn't do it over COVID. And then I honestly, I didn't even remember there being bye weeks really before COVID. Like, I thought that was something that they brought in.
It was a very new thing before COVID.
Okay, that makes sense then. I honestly, like, partially thought maybe it was a new thing as of maybe last year because of that shortened season was so condensed. Like teams were playing every other night constantly. Like it was like teams were.
No, I want to say it was like 5 to 6 years ago.
Okay. But then they took a few years off for COVID, so it really only has been a few years that they've actually done it.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, so anyway, the NHL putting 2 really good matchups, like Boston, Carolina, Eastern Conference Final preview, likely, like really good chance at that. And you just slap that at 5 o'clock on a Sunday when the NFL has their 2 conference championship games going on. It's kind of hilarious, and this is not like a unique example. They do it all the time. Like you said, they'll put 15 games on a Saturday and then 2 games on a Sunday at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and it's like why'd you do that for?
There's a week between when the Super Bowl is, right? It's not next weekend.
Yeah, next weekend is the Pro Bowl, so like their All-Star game, and then the weekend after is the Super Bowl.
Okay. I was gonna say, how NHL would it be to put the All-Star game on the Super Bowl?
Oh God, no! There's not going to be any games that day. Oh no, no, because
it's
Super Bowl. It's the 12th. Okay,
I don't know what
the NHL and the NBA actually both do this. It's really cool. All of their games are done by like 5 in the afternoon on the day of the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So February 12th is the Super Bowl Sunday. Edmonton and Montreal play at 12:30. Seattle and Philly play at 1. San Jose and Washington play at 1:30, and then Anaheim and Vegas play at 3. And then that's it. That's it for the day. And then looking at NBA might even go more extreme. The NBA has 2 games that day. One is at 2 o'clock and one is at 3 o'clock, and then that's it for the day. And one of them's in Toronto, so like people just don't care as much, I guess. They think. Or just like fuck Canada. We'll give them a game when the Super Bowl's about to start. But like
in general, case anyone care about football still.
Yeah. But yeah, in general, teams do absolutely sort of like work around the NFL, which I think is like kind of baller. Like, it's kind of sick for the NFL. Like, just like, you guys work around us. It's fine. We're gonna pick our dates and you guys make it work.
Yeah, we'll get 3 days of the week and you guys just like fill everything else in.
Yeah, just like work around it. It's fine.
Yeah.
That's funny. Okay, we're coming up on about 40 minutes here. Our last 2 episodes have gone kind of long. We should probably think about wrapping it up. Do you have anything else that you wanted to like maybe touch on briefly?
Yeah, 2 really quick notes that I wanted to touch on from last night's games. First, really more of just a comment is that Tolvanen scored again. I've been tracking this because I was really mad at the Sens for not taking a swing and like the 20 other teams that passed on him through waivers. So good for him. He's rocking it. And then
he's got 8 goals and 10 points in 15 games as a Kraken.
Yeah, I think he's on their second line and first power play, and he's producing. Yeah. Like, I don't know. Nashville just gave up on him. Nobody else wanted him. I don't understand what happened there, but good for him.
Good for him.
And then the second thing was in the Edmonton game last night with 2 minutes left to play. I think, or just a little bit over that. They're blowing out the Blackhawks. And they had an Ebug situation. I'm trying to find his name now.
Matthew Berlin.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Plays at the University of Alberta.
Yeah, University of Alberta goaltender. Kind of got his 2 minutes of fame. So I thought that was really cool just since I've kind of worked in university sport the last couple of years now. And just seeing a guy like that get his chance, I thought it was really cool.
I actually, I don't know, you might know better than I do, but I haven't seen an instance where a team like put in their Ebug like kind of just for shits to give them that chance when they're winning by a lot.
Yeah, I had not seen that before. And maybe there hasn't really been a scenario where there's been a blowout game and an Ebug had to come in or was possible to come in. But I thought it was a really nice gesture. And I don't know if he got scored on or not.
He didn't. He made one save.
He didn't? Nice.
No, one shot, one save.
Good for him.
Yeah, that's cool, though, to get that save. Yeah. That would have been kind of a bit of a letdown if he didn't get any shots.
Yeah, but regardless, still you get on the ice. You get to say you played with McDavid. Like, what an unreal experience.
I wonder... This is going to be like kind of a dumb question. Does he make any money from appearing in that game? Or, like, being the backup for the game?
So there was so much coverage of this when David Ayres made his appearance that I think I actually know the answer. I'm pretty sure the only pay they get, unless, like, there's some other side thing that happens with the team, is they get to keep their game-worn jersey.
That's weak.
Yeah, it's weak.
They get to keep their own. Oh yeah, because like all that lost revenue that the team's forking over for that Matthew Berlin jersey that they would have sold.
Like, unless there's some sort of side thing that's like not normal to the rest. I think teams are allowed to do that. Like, if a guy comes in and they want to do something special for him, why not? But I think what's standard is that the guy just gets to keep the jersey, and that's about it.
You'd think there'd be other stuff, though. Like, I don't know what it would be. Just spitballing, like, okay, so obviously we're paying for your gas. We're paying for your, like, meals for the day.
Oh, well,
and, like,
I think to have them come and sit in this, I'm sure that happens, but... Like, I don't think they get paid $1,000 or something if they have to go in, is what I'm getting at.
Oh, no, I don't mean that it'd be, like, a difference between whether or not they play or don't. I just mean for the day. Like, you have to – because your day ends up being, like, devoted to being the backup for that day, right? So, like, I wonder if there's some sort of compensation in that sense. Not in the sense of whether or not they actually go in net.
I would guess that well, first of all, they would get the tickets for free because they just have to be there. Because I'm pretty sure they're in the stands until they don't need, or until they need to be down in the room.
Really?
And then, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought I would have guessed that they were just like in the back or something.
And then I would guess they're compensated for a meal or something while they're there. I don't know, but
yeah.
I guess it's all down to team specifics.
Oops. Yeah, that stuff would be super cool. That's like. I don't know. That'd be kind of like a poster moment for a person's life, like appearing in an NHL game. It was also cool to see kind of like a younger guy to go into, because I feel like every time we see an Ebug, it's like a 40-year-old guy, which is also a really good story because they won't like get to one of those higher levels again. But like a 25-year-old, he could still carve out some sort of semi-pro career or whatever. So get some exposure, and who knows? It's also a lot safer to bring in a guy who's like playing
shouldn't that be how it's done?
That should be like mandatory. Like, you should not be allowed to bring in a 43-year-old Zamboni driver. Like, that should not be a thing.
Like, you should have
get hurt.
You should have to have somebody that's semi-qualified and currently playing high-level hockey.
I think it was actually floated. I want to say this sounds like this is like a Jeff Merrick thing. I think it's got to be. I think he floated the idea of every team actually just carrying an Ebug. So basically, you're paid year-round to be an Ebug. Yeah. So whether you're I don't want to say a failed pro player, but like, let's be real, you'd be like a guy who didn't make it. So you're paid however much money, like probably $200,000 a year, to be like sitting in the press box, and you go down if you're needed as an Ebug, instead of having to have these like random Ebugs designated for each rink kind of thing. And I thought that was a really cool idea.
I definitely remember that conversation, and I was just listening to a podcast. I think it was yesterday. I forget which one it was though, but somebody brought up the fact that the Leafs actually do pay a third goalie to come and practice with them. Like, I doubt it's anything like we were talking about, like $100,000 or anything like that. But apparently they actually like physically have somebody on payroll just to come and take shots or whatever when they need an extra guy. So,
that's pretty neat. Yeah. Typical big money team things.
Yeah, exactly.
But, that's actually really interesting. Honestly, they'd probably just serve as a shooter tutor most of the time.
Yeah, literally. Because, like, 3 goalies in practice is normally a nightmare, from what I've heard, anyways.
But I think that'd be more for, like, the flow drills that you don't really need to have a goalie in net, but it's better for the players if you do. So, like, instead of using one of your NHL guys, you just throw someone in there.
Or the extras and the injured players and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's
have somebody to shoot,
Interesting. Super cool story. That stuff's always fun. It's starting to come around. Like, it's starting to seem like it comes around a lot more often, too, just because of, like, salary cap teams aren't able to carry a third goalie, so they have to use Ebug. So there's always, like, one or two a year, which is really fun.
Yeah.
All right, Ryan, you got anything else, or can we wrap this thing up?
Well, I think that is good for today.
All right, let's go watch some football. I got my Eagles hat on. We're ready to go. Fly, Eagles, fly, and then I'll do it. Maybe hit the intro. We'll say Fly, Eagles, fly, and then I'll do it for episode 4. Catch you on Tuesday for episode 5. Oh, shit.